The woke and compassionate are nothing more than brown shirt Nazis or Mao Zedong's killing fleets or the Gestapo. They are the same level of idiocy, horrific hate, and lack of experience in real life. That's who they chose to be those terrible people in our history. And they are Antifa. They are the BLM. They are all these people that will go into a city and yank a white person out of the car and beat them almost to death just because of his skin color and get away with it because
Oh
the
yeah.
people that are running that area are actually condoning that behavior because that's part of the overthrow by reading Karl Marx's book in which they're following.
Yuri Bezmenov, are you familiar with his speech, with his talk from 1983, the ex-KGB agent who described the whole subversion of America? He described it in a lecture. He's a former KGB agent in 1983. He gave a lecture describing everything that you're saying pretty much in terms of subverting the America by digging into the institutions, by overthrowing the institutions like the church, like the Boy Scouts, to go after the education system, to subvert young children's minds and implant these Marxist ideals into them. So I'm sure that's very akin to what Karl Marx wrote.
No,
But
you're actually very correct. It is exactly because when you get them young and you form, first of all, influx of illegal immigrants, the training of our youth to be Marxists, the destabilization of areas like in crime, like in economy, so that more and more people rely on the government just to exist day to day, breaks down the fiber. The last thing is removing people's ability to defend themselves, which is exactly what they did in Venezuela. One of the first things they did before the Marxists stepped up and pulled all of their shenanigans, the last straw was that they outlawed guns and they had Gestapo type people go and recover all the guns, and then communism hit because nobody could defend themselves.
mm-hmm.
I
That's the
mean,
same thing that they did in every single country, from
yes,
Germany to Russia to China to Venezuela. It's everywhere that you remove people's ability to defend themselves. And of course, the government comes in and seizes more and more of your power. So all the people that say, I used to be, because I grew up in a left center household. Actually, I was the furthest right, and the rest of my family were pretty much socialists. Or, my dad grew up under communism in Poland, but somehow he didn't think it was all that bad, but he wasn't totally pro-communism or anything like that. But, I used to be like 50-50 on the Second Amendment. I wish that we could live in a society without guns where nobody would be able to kill somebody else. But now I recognize, after seeing them state, don't you dare defend yourself because we will send the full weight of law enforcement after you if you do. And we're going to let BLM burn down your house and assault you, and Antifa to do the same. I recognize that Kyle Rittenhouse needed to have a gun in order to stay alive. The good thing is that we have the Second Amendment, and as hard as the leftists and the Democrats are trying to take away our guns, it's going to be a little bit harder in America. Thank God for that. Um,
I hope it continues that way. I truly do, because I happen to love my country. I happen to love the fact that I've gone to several different countries as a medic, and I've inoculated people, I've fed people, I've been there with engineers helping them drill wells. I've uh, I've actually been able to clean water supplies with filtration systems that I help install so that people, stop getting different, dysentery or waterborne diseases. And I've done a lot of those things. You know why? Because I'm American. I'm an American and I love God and I love all people. And I've been able to go into foreign countries and help people. I tell you what, I've helped a lot more people in my life than I've hurt. And I've been in some terrible situations where a lot of people got hurt. And so I've definitely been the side of good, much more than I've been the side of self defense. And that's because I wear the stars and stripes on my shoulder. And so I'm very proud of that. And, remember back after Vietnam, soldiers that would come back, they would get spit on. They'd be called baby killers. They'd be shunned.
I just can't understand that.
It's happening now again. I still wear uniforms from time to time whenever I have to bury a comrade. And recently in San Francisco, we had just finished folding the flag over the coffin of this husband who was being laid to rest, military hero. And I was on my knee and I was presenting the flag to the widow. And a car of what I call wokesters drove by and screamed as loud as they could, fuck you for your service. Now, I want that to sink in. This wife who just lost her husband and a military war hero was being laid to rest. And as she's getting the flag over her husband's coffin, that's what she hears. You think she's ever going to forget that?
Absolutely not.
I've had so many people flip me off when I'm in uniform here in California, driving to funerals because they recognize, oh, he's Army, and they flip me off.
I
So,
I am
it's a
ashamed
path to
right
play God.
now of my fellow Californians. I'm just ashamed that Americans would behave in such a manner that they've been taught that those who defend them, that defend their freedoms and their vast wealth, vast. You have been to Colombia. I've been to Colombia as well. You can go. I've been out in the middle of the rainforest on the eastern side doing the trek to the Lost City, if you know
Oh
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know the exact area you're talking
Yeah,
about.
Santa Margarita, or
Yeah,
is that
I think
it?
that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you go out there and you see people that are still living in the jungle the way they did. Almost they might have cell phones that work on occasion, but they've been living the same way for the last several hundred years. And you want to see poverty? Why don't you go there? And you cry that the prices at Walmart have risen. Where you go to the middle of Cambodia and you see the workers that are coming back from their shift on cattle cars. They're just packed in on cattle cars. And these are people that are working for $1 a day. And I think that they tried to get a $5 raise a week when I was there. I remember that. And they had to put down the strike. I believe it was partially violent. They let it be known that you don't dare strike over an extra $5 a week.
Ooh, that's rough.
It's brutal. It's brutal. And the people here say, oh my God, I'm so mistreated. Because again, what you said, that the antidote to wokeism is the experience of living abroad. When you realize how lucky you are that you are in the 1% of the world just by the fact that you are an American.